Am I the a-hole for not returning money my ex-husband sent to me mistakenly? A few days ago, my ex-husband mistakenly transferred two payments of $8,700 and $9,275. He did this at around 7:40 a.m. in the morning, and I didn't notice because I had just worked a double night shift and was getting ready for bed. So my phone was charging on the nightstand. At the same time, my 4 children were at my parents', and so I planned to sleep away half the day. I guess he realized his mistake around 8:30 a.m., and by then I was dead asleep. I woke up at around 4 p.m. to at least 100 missed calls and maybe 150 texts asking and begging me to send him back the money. My initial thoughts were to send it back, but then I remembered he owed me $12,000 and hasn't paid me back since I lended it to him 4 years ago, and he's had a million excuses why he can't pay me back, and yet I always see him living it up. I kept the amount he owed me and returned only $59.75 and told him I deducted his debt. Since then, I've had him call me every book in the name because this was apparently money he was saving to buy his girlfriend an engagement ring, the engagement venue, etc., so according to him, he had to tell her. This then led to it ruining the surprise engagement he planned for the next weekend. His girlfriend has been bad-mouthing me, and it has caused a bit of a shitstorm with me having to shut down my social media, and even his parents, who I had a cordial relationship, has been impacted by it. I discussed the situation with a friend and colleague, and it was overheard by another colleague, and he has called what I did a dickhead move, and I guess he shared it with a couple of other people, and now I'm not too sure anymore on whether I am being an a-hole or not. Is this an a-hole move? Edit. The money was loaned to him after our divorce. We've been divorced for 7 years, and I loaned him the money 4 years ago after he had lost his job and fell behind on bills and his rent. This has nothing to do with his child support payments, of which he is also behind on, and that's being handled by Family Court, the child support company. There are texts of him asking for a loan, and it included a repayment plan and time, but he never stuck to it. So there's a legal trail if he ever decided to involve the law, but I seriously doubt he would because it would cost way more to sue me, and I think I would have won in court since I only deducted his debt to me. Yes, he is the father of our 4 kids. I also didn't deduct the overdue child support payments because that is being handled by the courts, and I don't want to muddy the water and get myself in trouble. The child support company is aware of his arrears, and if I'm not mistaken, he will need to start paying soon, or they'll start garnering his wages. Edit 2. Yes, I could have sued him for the debt, but it would have cost me way more to hire a lawyer. Suing someone isn't cheap. Lawyers cost real money, and a lawsuit takes real time. Edit 3. When I say, then I remembered he owed me money. You have to understand I had just woken up after having worked a double shift. I'm a nurse, and I was still kind of exhausted when I woke up. I could barely remember my own name, let alone anything else, so my initial instinct was just to return the money, but I quickly got to my senses.
To be fair, he has owed you $12,000 for 4 years. His priorities should have been clearing his debt and then saving for an engagement ring, especially when he clearly had the money. Also, surely he can find an engagement ring for $6,000? Not the a-hole, you only kept what you were owed.
I think the money also included the cost of the venue and other things for the engagement.
Not the a-hole. Tell everyone who says that you're wrong that if he can afford a venue, he can afford to pay back his debt to the mother of his children. His new fiancée should be pleased to find out his true nature before the wedding. You did her a favor letting her know that he won't repay his debts unless forced to do so. His bad luck on the mistake, but good for you.
Not the a-hole. This guy is able to take $12,000 to the mother of his children and hope she'll feed them without, and he considers that it's a priority to buy a ring that price. Your colleague is probably the same guy who punishes ex even with children and probably consider that child support shouldn't be paid. Don't listen to him. Not an a-hole move at all. Keep money. Keep your money.
Not the a-hole. Every time someone calls you out for it, just reply, I did return it. I just deducted the $12,000 that I loaned him, and he's never paid back.
$12,000 without interest. She did him a favor.
Not the a-hole amusing how he can afford an almost $20,000 ring but can't afford to pay you back. Keep the money and let them run their mouths.
Am I the a-hole for describing my mom's second marriage and her younger kids as her do-over family? I, 17 female, lost my dad when I was 5. My parents were married, but I remember dad being more present in my early memories than mom, and when my dad died, I know my mom wasn't there for me. She left me to raise myself, or she roped in some extended family to take care of me, usually grandparents. But she wouldn't always do that, and I was sort of forced to become independent and more mature in some ways to raise myself. Like I had to make sure I ate, did homework, got to school on time, all without my mom helping me. The most she'd do is make some food, but she wouldn't even tell me she had. I usually had to search the fridge to find it. My grandparents were the ones who celebrated my birthdays with me, and they were the ones who typically went to my school for parent conferences. My mom doesn't know me. She couldn't tell you what classes I take in high school, what my favorite food or color is, who my friends and best friends are, nothing. 5 years ago she met her husband Sam, and pretty quickly, like before they were living together, my mom got pregnant. So Sam moved in and my mom married him. Her was born 4 years ago and her son followed along 2 years ago. And right away I see the difference in how my mom is with them. She knows them, she loves them, she dedicates time to them, she advocates for them. All the things I do not remember her ever doing for me. She eats with them and plays with them, and she takes her daughter to preschool every day and takes her for a treat after. It sucks to see. I didn't get a good mom, but I see she had her in it to be a good mom and chose not to be. Sam isn't as good as my dad was though. But he's still better than my mom ever was to me. Last week my mom asked me to babysit for her and Sam, and I said no. My mom was shocked and asked me why I wouldn't babysit. I told her I had work and I had plans with friends. She told me she would have expected me to want time with the kids. I told her I don't want time with her do-over family. She asked me what that meant, and I said Sam and the kids are her do-over family. She is a better mom to her younger kids, and she and Sam have created their own perfect little family with them and their kids. But she was never that for me. I told her I have zero interest in helping her out with the do-over family, and I pointed out that it was the most she had said to me in years, because she normally doesn't talk to me or include me in anything, and the only reason she was speaking to me is she wanted something. She was all, "How dare you say that about Sam and the kids," and she told me I had an awful attitude and she hopes the kids never pick up on how I feel about them and their dad. She told me they deserve better than being described that way, and she told me I had some nerve to be jealous that her kids have a happy family life. I laughed and told her she only cared about them, and that was clear. She called me a nasty little bitch. Am I the a-hole?
I mean, no, not the a-hole, you are right, and we're blunt about it. Your mom didn't want to hear your truth. It sounds like you have your head screwed on right, but I would start making plans for when you can get out of there. College is amazing, you can find your own chosen family.
I plan to go into a trade because college isn't in the cards for me. But I already have plans for what will happen when I turn 18 in a few months.
Not the a-hole, your egg donor with a uterus was not there for you. She is now for her second chance family. You owe her nothing. My mom doesn't know me. She couldn't tell you what classes I take in high school, what my favorite food or color is, who my friends and best friends are, nothing. If she brings this up again, ask her these questions and see what her answers are. When she can't answer, she will throw a fit, but you will have made your point with her.
Not the a-hole. Your mom wasn't and isn't there for you, and it must really hurt to see her be the mom you had wished for. You understandably lashed out at her, and in response she cussed you out, which is not acceptable. You didn't attack the kids, you absolutely directed your anger at the right recipient. Hold out. It's going to be better, and you'll be able to find your chosen family or be with the family members you want to be soon. I wish you the best of luck and happiness in your future.
What I find funny is how dare you say that about Sam and the kids? No, she is talking about you.
I'd comfortably say not the a-hole, but I'd also say make sure you play nice, or at least nice enough, until you can skedaddle. Just because you're right doesn't mean that she won't be vindictive or mean because of your actions.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories.